Hello, Liverpool fans. Welcome to the Liverpool Report, your go-to source for the latest news, match updates, and transfer stories straight from Anfield. Don't miss out on any of the action. Hit that subscribe button now and stay in the loop with all things Reds. Liverpool and Arsenal's draw for the rest of the Champions League knockouts looks set to hand the Premier League an extra place in next year's competition. With Europe's top club competition being expanded from this season, additional qualification spots are on offer. 3 English clubs remain in the knockouts, with Aston Villa joining Liverpool and the Gunners. The Reds face a difficult draw against Paris Saint-Germain, while Arsenal will face PSV Eindhoven, and Aston Villa will take on Club Brugge. The trio have all ended up on the same side of the draw. That means Liverpool could take on Villa in the quarter-finals, and one of those two sides could face the Gunners in the semi-final. If the 3 teams do make it into the last 8, that would boost England's coefficient ranking. Regardless of competition, each win is worth 2 coefficient points. A draw gets you 1 point, and you get nothing for a defeat. If a match goes to extra time, the score after 120 minutes is used. So, penalties are not taken into account if the game is drawn, as they are used to determine the tie rather than the individual match. England currently leads the way with 106.6 points, with Italy second on 93.4 and Spain third on 89.1. An extra Champions League place will be awarded to the top 2 countries in those rankings. Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid have been drawn together for the last 16, with Bayern Munich facing Bayer Leverkusen. That deals a serious blow to both Spain and Germany's hopes of rising up the coefficient rankings. Germany currently sit 4th, with Borussia Dortmund their final representative in the knockout stages. For Spain to overtake England in the rankings, they would likely need one of their clubs to win the Champions League, and hope English sides do not reach the latter stages. The points earned by clubs from the same domestic league are added up and divided by the number of clubs the league has in Europe. England and Spain have 7, while Italy has 8. Manchester United and Tottenham have reached the last 16 of the Europa League, while Chelsea have made it to the same stage of the Conference League. Bonus points are also available to clubs playing in the Champions League. England have an advantage with 3 teams left, particularly as Liverpool could play Villa in the quarter-final to guarantee at least 1 English club in the semis. If England are awarded an additional place, that would mean 5 teams qualify for the Champions League next season. That extra place would be handed to the team finishing 5th in the Premier League, currently Bournemouth. Last season, it was the Bundesliga and Serie A, which received the extra places, with Borussia Dortmund and Bologna the beneficiaries. If Italy again receives an additional spot, Lazio would receive it as they sit 5th in Serie A. Liverpool have been urged to sign Newcastle star Alexander Isak to replace the misfiring Darwin Núñez. Arneslot criticised Núñez's unacceptable behaviour after the £85 million striker missed a golden chance in Liverpool's frustrating 2-2 draw away to Aston Villa on Wednesday. "I would prefer him to score, but the word chance says it all. It's a chance, so it's not 100% sure that the ball goes in, and players miss chances," Slot affirmed. "That I can accept, but what was a bit harder for me to accept was his behaviour after that chance. I think it got too much in his head, where he wasn't the usual Darwin that works his off and makes sure he helps the team. That is something we will talk about." But Núñez, who had interest from Saudi Arabian clubs during the winter transfer window, might not have long to prove himself under Slot, especially if ex-Liverpool defender John Arne Riise gets his way. The former left-back, who played at Anfield between 2001 and 2008, has urged the Reds to join Arsenal and Chelsea in the race for Isak, who'd reportedly cost a huge £150 million. "I've seen the rumours saying that he would love a move to Liverpool as well," Riise told Metro via BetMGM. "Every striker would love to go to Liverpool at the moment when how they play, but I think it would be a great addition to the team. He plays football with a smile on his face. He likes to be creative. He's quick. He's very good in front of goal, so I think that would be a great signing. If there's one place I think Liverpool should strengthen or do something in the summer, it's the striker position for sure." Those comments aren't to say that Rice isn't a fan of Núñez, however. Sometimes you have players in the team that you love watching and you love having a team, and Núñez is one of them. He fights, he works hard, he is that kind of character, the 2005 Champions League winning defender went on to explain. So often he gets these chances and you think, yeah, now he's going to loosen up, now he's going score, but it hasn't come for him. And so, no matter how much I love his personality and how he plays, Liverpool are a top club that need a striker who scores goals on a regular basis. We have Mohamed Salah, but he's not a striker, he's a winger. We need a striker who is more clinical and will take care of his chances when he gets them. You will miss some, but Núñez has missed quite a few massive chances that he should have scored. So it's a hard one being a Liverpool fan and loving Núñez as a player, but if you look at the team and what the team needs to stay up there at the top, I think we need to look at a striker who is more clinical in front of the goal. Arneslot has warned Liverpool not to get distracted by what Arsenal are doing as the Reds threaten to get drawn into a tight title race. The Gunners can move to 5 points off Premier League leaders Liverpool when they face West Ham on Saturday after the Reds drew 2-2 with Aston Villa on Wednesday. Slot's side don't play until 24 hours later, and with a tough trip against champions Manchester City. Their test, the Dutchman does not want his players concerned about what Arsenal have done before them. I think the biggest question to be asked is from Man City because we face a strong team again. Like we faced at Villa, he said. Yeah, Arsenal plays before us, but we know that doesn't make the game easier or more difficult than we have against City. We know we have 12 games to play, and Arsenal has 13 games to play. If we constantly look at Arsenal or what other teams are doing, that would not help us. We already know how difficult it is to go to the Etihad, so we don't need Arsenal to get involved in that even more. City are not in the title race this season and are more concerned with qualifying for the Champions League after being knocked out of the competition against Real Madrid on Wednesday night. But Slot is not getting complacent as the Reds look for their first win at the Etihad in the Premier League since 2015, which was before Pep Guardiola took charge. They've had maybe 1 or 2 months in the 7 or 8 years he's there now that weren't the best, maybe partly because of injuries as well, said Slot. Injuries come back. They've signed 3 or 4 players. I can see them coming back already if you look at the result against Newcastle. So what you expect is what everybody expects if you go to the Etihad, if you play against City. You have to suffer as well and work really hard to keep them away from your goal because they are so good in ball possession. But they face a strong team as well that hasn't lost for 22 games. Cody Gakpo has a chance to return against City, but Connor Bradley looks set to join Joe Gomez on the injured list for at least a week after he limped off against Villa. Trent Alexander-Arnold was taken off for Bradley against Villa and seemed surprised at the substitution as he had just scored the equaliser, but Slot revealed that was pre-agreed as he manages his minutes. We spoke about this already a week ago, that in these 5 games he already knows how many minutes he would make, said Slot. That was in a situation where Connor Bradley was available as well. Now we maybe have to adjust our plan. Jamie Carragher has told Liverpool that a victory at Manchester City this weekend should secure them the Premier League title, if history is to be believed. The Reds, having drawn 2 of their past 3 games, head to the Etihad Stadium on Sunday to take on Pep Guardiola's battered and bruised side 8 points clear at the top of the table, having played a game more than Arsenal. City have just gone out of the Champions League and are miles off it in the title race, but remain a formidable opponent. Liverpool have a poor record on the blue side of Manchester, and failing to win would allow the Gunners to further close the gap. However, a victory would see Arne Slot negotiate arguably the toughest fixture left on the calendar. A loss in Manchester on Sunday, coupled with an Arsenal win at home to West Ham a day earlier, would flip the title race on its head, with Carragher underlining the value of a victory. He wrote in the Telegraph beat Manchester City at the Etihad and win the title. It sounds more straightforward than it is, and no one will be making such a wildly premature declaration if Arne Slot is celebrating an away win on Sunday night. But history informs us that victory in this fixture can be the difference between being champions and runners-up. Carragher has pointed to results in Manchester as being defining in recent years. Jurgen Klopp failed to win there in 2019, and 2022 doing so would have seen him land 2 more titles. Had Arsenal won, rather than drew, their last year, they would be carrying the tag of the champions. One area that gives Carragher confidence is the Liverpool front line. Slot is spoilt for options, and the Reds often find the back of the net. Arsenal are not as lucky with injuries ripping through their attacking resources, albeit they remain solid defensively. The Sky Sports pundit pointed out, though, that history suggests a more potent attack will ultimately edge out an impressive defence when it comes to lifting the trophy. This title race is a battle between Arsenal's superior defence and Liverpool's more varied striking options, he said. The positive news for Liverpool is that across the 32 Premier League seasons, more often than not, the title winners have been the team with the best attack rather than defence. Carragher also confessed that both Arsenal and Liverpool need work, which is likely to be aided by some shrewd recruitment this summer, and whichever team can cover their cracks may end up as champions. He said the title will be won by the side who can overcome their current imperfections to get over the line.